Hey everybody! I noticed that there's not a lot of response content on this channel, and that's a situation that bugs me and I want to remedy it. I mean, yeah, sure, there's the layman video, but what is that but a diatribe that misses its own point, innit? Maybe my channel is a little too highbrow, if you will. Maybe my highly intellectual format of letting ideas stand in a vacuum by presenting them in a clear and rational manner is not all I aspire to be, right? Maybe I need to bash some bitches to get ahead in this genre of YouTube. Therefore, today, for the sake of your amusement and mine, I will be ripping apart some bollocks, and because I'm lazy, I will be sticking to the low-hanging fruit, if you will. Don't worry, they're not mangoes. We're gonna take a look at a channel called Queer Kid Stuff, which is a name that leaves me kind of confused because I don't know if it's a channel about odd hobbies for children, if it's a channel that is owned by a queer kid, in which case, why is this misspelled? Is it because they are a kid and they don't know how to spell properly yet? Or maybe, is it a channel about grinding up homosexual minors and stuffing them into a turkey? Let's begin with the Happy LGBTQ plus Pride song, which I have no idea what this could be about. There's absolutely no clues to it in the title of the video.
Hey there, welcome to Queer Kid Stuff. I'm Lindsay and today we're celebrating Pride Month.
How lazy of you to only celebrate one day of an entire month's of celebrations.
Are part of one big family. Gaming's happy. Queer Kid Stuff. You are enough here at Queer Kid Stuff.
I'm sorry, can I hear that again?
You are enough here at Queer Kid Stuff.
Listen, unless you're a Chinese kid, this you don't even know what this means, right? The existential dread of being crushed by the dark world that surrounds you because you're not sufficient as a human being to brave its dangers. That's not really something that's part of a child's everyday life. And certainly not to the extent where it warrants putting that shit as the punchline of your intro. What kind of chronic anxiety disorders do you think children have these days? And can I also mention that the metal background texture you use for your intro reminds me of the steel tables you might expect to find in a third-rate prison in some dystopian noir crime metropolis?
It's June, everyone. That means it's LGBTQ plus Pride Month. June is a very special month for the LGBTQ plus community. We call June Pride Month and we celebrate the LGBTQ plus community in different ways for a whole entire month.
Just for the record though, which community is this regarding again?
It's not always easy for LGBTQ plus people to be themselves, so June is the one time every year when we all get together to celebrate our awesomeness. It's a lot of fun too. Cities all over the world celebrate Pride Month with these huge parades with music and dancing and lots of rainbow flags.
Yeah, this is real important stuff for kids to know. I mean, these look like fun for all ages and totally not targeted at people over a certain age. It's not like fucking is what these are all about.
Rainbow flags are a symbol of LGBTQ plus pride. There are also a bunch of different pride flags that are symbols of pride for different identities. There's the trans pride flag and the bi pride flag too. These flags are awesome symbols of LGBTQ plus pride. Today, I have a very special song for you so we can all celebrate Pride together.
Wait, what? You're just gonna throw these flags at the kids and then leave them with a bunch of letters that they can't even remember? And now you're gonna break out into fucking song? What the fuck are they supposed to learn from this?
Just when you think that the world's gone wrong, you're not feeling strong. Shout when you feel inside.
I'm sorry, I was just having a flashback to the great meme war of 2016 and all the rare Pepes that were lost when Hillary had them publicly burned. Now that we've almost survived that one, let's take a look at another masterpiece of children's education. No means no, and yes means yes. And judging from the title, this video about sexual consent, to which I have to ask, don't you think that's a little heavy a subject to broach with an 8-year-old? You think little Timmy, who's getting diddled by Uncle Tommy, is gonna know what the fuck's going on? Is gonna be able to make that transaction? To understand what you're talking about here? But let's not worry, Lindsay has, after all, proven that Mr. Rogers ain't got nothing on her when it comes to children's educational television.
And I'm Teddy.
First of all, this video just starts with the introduction of Teddy. The first few seconds, they're just missing. They just didn't bother fixing that. They just fuck it, just leave it up. What the fuck?
Teddy,
Yes, Lindsay?
have you noticed that I always ask you if something is okay before I do it?
Okay. I want to know where this is going.
I guess so.
And that I always wait for you to say yes before I keep going?
This can't be fucking real, can it? This is...
Yes.
Well, that's what consent is. Consent is about consenting or giving permission to someone for something.
So, saying yes is consent.
Yes.
Whoa, what the fuck was that edit there? Was that really necessary to zoom in on your face like that? This is making me a little bit uncomfortable.
Saying yes to someone is giving that person your consent. The easiest example is sharing. When someone asks you to share your toy with them, you can always say yes or no.
Sharing your toy, mate? Really? Is sharing your toy the analogy you're gonna go with here?
When you're playing with someone, you should share your toys because it's a nice thing to do, but you always have that choice to give or not give consent.
Yeah, but what if he's a priest though?
What if it's a special toy and you don't want another bear to break it?
First of all, you should never play with bears. Bears can fuck you up, especially when you're a kid. They got claws and shit. Also, really? Is this teddy bear's dick now a very special toy that only he gets to play with himself because he's afraid of other kids breaking it? Well, isn't it a little early to talk about HIV prevention?
The most important thing to remember about consent is that you should always respect when someone else says no.
Unless you have a reason, like you want to fuck somebody and they won't let you, in which case, what other option do you have? How else are you supposed to have an orgasm in their body if you don't rape them? I mean, what the fuck?
Just like you always have a choice to say yes or no when someone asks to hug you.
You think that there's gonna be children complaining now when Aunt Matilda half chokes them to death in her harpy-like embrace, right? Do you think they're gonna complain that she didn't ask for consent first? You think that Aunt Matilda's gonna give a shit?
Okay, got it. I can only play with someone else's toy when they say I can. If you have any questions about consent, you can always ask your grown-up.
You think when little Timmy asks his diddling uncle if he needs consent to touch his pee-pee, he's gonna believe some random cunter on the internet or his Uncle Tommy. So at the end of the day, they didn't actually talk about sex at all, unless it was covered in sort of 20 layers of euphemism, which that's kind of the conundrum you get into when you want to do sex education for kids, because you can't talk about sex to kids. All of the connotations that adults have with the word consent, children don't have those, right? They don't understand what the fuck you're talking about. And I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with teaching them the principle that this video teaches them in a non-sexual context. It's a very solid principle to live by. But they're not taking away the message that you think they're taking away from this. Let's do one more, shall we? How to be a good ally. This ought to be good.
Hey there, I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Teddy.
Welcome to
Queer Kid Stuff.
Today we're talking about what it means to be a good ally.
Why the fuck are you talking over yourself in the background? Why do you do this in every video? Do you not know that that's irritating as fuck?
Lindsay,
Yeah, Teddy?
well, I don't know what ally means.
Oh, I know this one. Being a good ally is not declaring war on me after fucking pulling me into a 3-front conflict over a canal city with fucking Gandhi and Bismarck, you backstabbing whore.
That's a great question, Teddy. Thank you for reminding me to explain a new word. Sometimes grown-ups have known a word for so long that we forget that kids don't know them too.
Well, that's a realization should have come to before the consent video, innit?
An ally is someone who supports people who are different from them.
I don't get it.
Let's take me, for example. I'm a cisgender woman who is a trans ally. Even though I don't identify as trans, I try to learn as much as I can about what it's like to be trans, and I use that information to help in whatever way I can.
I just want to point out real quick the fucking paintings she has in the background of her set on every episode. Who do you think draws those? Because it sure shit ain't kids, right? Unless she's got a daycare chained up in a basement that she whips and fucking draw me shitty watercolors, you little cunts. You're not gonna get fucking dinner. Unless that's what the situation here. There's some adult sitting down and drawing these anew for every episode so the new ones hang there.
So it has to do with your identity?
Yes, it has to do with your identity and how you treat people with identities that are different from yours.
No, it's not. At least it shouldn't be. Why the fuck do you have to make everything about yourself?
It's super important to be an ally. It's especially important to be an ally to a community of people who might not have stuff that you have. That's something called privilege.
White people have very light skin, which makes them incredibly sensitive to the southern sunlight. Therefore, if you have melanin privilege, you need to work for them in the cotton fields, because that is what being a good ally is. You see how that logic doesn't make sense? You see how it can be used to justify some heinous fucking shit? You really think this is a good idea, that this is a good moral path to walk down?
Whoa, what's privilege?
We're going to get more into privilege later this season, but for now you can think of it as certain people having advantages over others because of how they identify.
You can't tell kids that you'll explain this at some other episode. The explanation you do give is fucking lackluster, right? This is a lofty concept, and to use the way you explained it, they even have to understand what it means to identify as something, which is a lofty concept in and of its own.
Straight people have an advantage over gay people because gay people have to deal with homophobia. Homophobia is a disadvantage for gay people.
Look, in the intro you say that gay means happy, but clearly this isn't what you mean here. Because here what you mean by gay is homosexual, but there's no guarantee that your kids know this, right? What kind of fucking expertise in advanced gender fluid dynamics does your audience of 7-year-olds need to have to understand your show?
Okay, so what do I have to do to be a good ally?
1. Respect. You need to respect other people and their identities.
But what if they're assholes?
2. Listen. You need to listen to people who have identities that are different from yours. If someone has an identity that is different from yours and they want to tell you something about their experience, you should listen to what they have to say.
So some random drag queen comes up to me in a bar and she tells me how much she loves sucking dick behind Arby's. And now I have to listen to her stories about how she's gotten the clap so often that she might call herself standing ovation. Is that what you mean here?
If you're straight and are talking to an LGBTQ plus person about being LGBTQ plus, then they probably know more about that than you.
This is a show for kids who can barely recite the alphabet, by the way. I'm sure they'll do very good with fucking acronyms.
And finally, 3, learn. You need to keep learning new things about other people and their experiences. If you respect and listen to people with other identities, then you will probably learn something from them.
Sure, as an adult, I know that this means gaining an understanding in order to build an emotional rapport with a stranger, right? But how do you expect a child to have this connotation, right? To them, learning is all about sitting in school. So really now they're gonna just expect a fucking lecture from any old lesbian they meet. And really, who's to say that's not the future we're bound for, eh?
It's important to keep an open mind to new ideas so you can learn something new about other people every day and use those ideas to become a better ally.
I used to be a free thinker with my own opinions. But then I began listening to people who were born into a higher place than my lowly self. And I took everything they said as gospel. Now I am an unthinking drone, and every time I get more orders I am happy because I can become better at pleasing my superiors. Seriously, the way she says ally creeps me the fuck out. It's like her entire identity is built around pleasing some race of better creatures that are too perfect for this brutal and savage world.
I've learned so many new things from my friends with different identities from me, especially from my friends who are trans and who use they for their pronoun.
Look at the red dot on her arm. Look at that. Does that look suspicious to anyone else? It doesn't move. Like comes from an outside source. This isn't just a piece of fluff on her sleeve. Lindsay, if you're in danger, blink 3 times real fast.
Grown-ups do still learn new things all the time. I've learned so much from having these conversations with you, and I hope you've learned new stuff from watching our videos.
What deep, stimulating wisdom could this underage teddy bear with a hand up his ass have given you about the nature of existence, right? What intellectual masterpiece of an idea has this teddy bear implanted into your mind that you've pondered for weeks on end?
I'm going to do my best to be a good ally.
I'm really glad.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if that wasn't your plan, she'd have to send you off to the gulag. And I mean, she doesn't really want to buy a new teddy bear.
Thank you so much for watching Queer Kid Stuff. If you have any questions about being a good ally, you can always ask your grown-up. A huge thank you to our supporters over at Patreon.
Wait, these people have a Patreon? This depresses me. Listen, I'm gonna mansplain some shit to you, okay? No child voluntarily watches your show because your show is shit. You can't just get a teddy bear, a pink set, and the royalty-free ukulele, and then expect to have an educational show for kids. Kids may be stupid, but they're not idiots, right? They will see through your bullshit and understand that what this show is learning. And all learning is the time in school, the boring time in school where you have to sit there quietly writing shit and doing maths, and where you can't play with your friends. That's what learning is to a kid. Children need to be tricked into learning shit, right? Why do you think fables exist, right? You need to use stories to explain such lofty concepts to them, right? You need to have some interesting characters. You need to have a plot and a world that they can get immersed in, and then you can lead them to the conclusion of the moral argument you're trying to make step by step, right? You can't just preach to them. In a kids show, you can't just come off as an adult who wants to sit them down and lecture them about some shit they don't really want to hear, right? They need to have fun if they're gonna learn anything, and a bunch of shitty songs isn't gonna cut it. It's almost as though this channel was not in fact a kids show, but a pulpit where adults can look to you and think that you are speaking to kids while you are actually speaking to them, which, I mean, now that I actually consider it, that explains the You Are Enough shit, right? This is a show for adults who like to pretend they're kids. And they're familiar with this sort of existential anxiety, and they don't need the fluffy dressing to be preached to and learn shit. They have been learning information by just being preached at for years. And all the aesthetic of the show just takes them back to a simpler, better time they feel nostalgic for, because everybody loved them back in the day. But here's the thing, kids don't get fucking nostalgic. And the worst part is, I don't think anyone involved in the making of this show actually knows this. Jesus fucking Christ, people, this is some weird shit. I'm just gonna leave now. I'm out of here. I can't. What? And just to make this clear, don't go over there and harass them. You can state your opinion. They got their comments open, but I mean, this show's not doing any harm to anyone because children don't even fucking watch it, right? Unless they have some SJW parents who sit them down and tell them, "You have to do this." Which that's gonna be the one time a day where watching television is shit. It's like when you were a little kid and your parents forced you to watch the news for some reason, which is something that happens to me in the boys' home I grew up in. And yeah, also, thanks for watching. Let me know if there's more such content that you want to see. If you want to see me react to more shit, respond to more shit, because I'm not gonna be a reaction channel. No, just response videos. Send me shit for it if you want. Let me know your opinion in the comments. I certainly had fun. I'm looking forward to maybe doing this again, because totally not because I'm running out of ideas, because just this is. I don't want to say this is what sells, but this is what sells. But it's also huge fun. It's what I consume most of the time, isn't it? I also might do like an RPG game stream with some of you guys soon, but I'll keep you posted on that. It's a thing that I'm thinking about. Yeah, well, until next time then, I guess, fucking toodaloo and shit.